Hey, this is Mitchell Whitfield. You may know me as Barry from Friends or Stan from My Cousin Vinny, and this is Splash Pages.
Excelsior!
Welcome back to Rhode Island Comic Con, everybody. I'm definitely here with someone who definitely always makes me smile. We have Mitchell Whitfield. So, sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for saying that I make you smile. That makes me very happy. I'm doing great. It's my first time here at Rhode Island Comic Con. I'm overwhelmed. This show is incredible, and I'm having a great time.
Probably about as good of a time as we had rewatching My Cousin Vinny. You know, we had you there in the movie, starring beside, Ralph Macchio, working with Joe Pesci and the late, great Fred Gwynne. So I definitely had to ask, there was a scene, I believe it's when one of the lawyers is talking to one of the jurors, and he slaps one of them on the shoulder.
When he's saying jury, he's trying to get...
Yeah, jury.
Yeah.
And I believe it was you, Ralph, and Joe are just doing your best not to laugh.
You're being very generous by saying doing your best, because clearly we did not. There was not, and I look back at that movie, and now people are going to watch, of course, the movie, go back and see the courtroom scenes. There was not as many takes as we did, because when you shoot a movie, for people that don't know, you shoot multiple takes of that same scene to get the best version of it. There was not one take that we did where at least I was not laughing. Head covered, shoulders going, I couldn't help it. And the director came over, Jonathan Linden, said, "We need you to not laugh." And I said, intellectually, I get that, but the body wants what the body wants. And as he said action, he turned away because he couldn't look without laughing. So I said, how could you expect me to not laugh when you won't even laugh? So we were hysterical the whole time.
And I can say it, I think we're still laughing. I mean, the movie is still great. So the other thing I definitely want to ask you about is you were Donatello in the 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Now, it's not the first time they've been animated, it's the first time they've kind of been CGI animated.
Correct.
So to prepare for that, did you read any of the comics? Did you?
I read the comics. I was a fan of the TV show and the other movies. And the way I tell people is I was so excited to get this role because I was such a fan of the franchise and all the different mediums. And after the excitement of knowing that I was going to play the part wore off a little bit, I started getting worried. And I don't usually get nervous about roles. I've been doing this a long time. But because I love the franchise, I don't want to be the Donatello that screws it up. I don't want to be the Donatello that... I hated that version of him, so I felt sort of the weight of that a little bit. And I was so happy the way everything came out. The other actors were amazing. I thought the story was really great. The CGI was beautiful, well directed by Kevin Monroe, well written. So all in all, I was super happy. And I always like when people say that they enjoyed that movie because there's so many different versions of Ninja Turtles. But that one is sort of obviously near and dear to my heart, so yeah.
Yes, don't worry. The hate definitely went to the Michael Bay Turtles. So that's from what I've heard.
I cannot speak of that.
That's fine. He can't, but the fans did. And then one more thing, especially because I'm sure people have asked you a lot about Friends. I'm not going to. I know I could, but I won't. But one of my favorite memories of you is that you were in an episode of CSI. I know.
Slaves of Las Vegas.
Yes, Slaves of Las Vegas.
That was very disturbing. My outfit alone was enough to upset me.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Disturbing. I very rarely play the bad guy. I usually play the good guy, except I guess Barry on Friends was kind of a jerk, but normally I'm not a killer at least. So it was upsetting to be, the killer on the show, and then having to go to the, I believe it was an S&M parlor where I committed my foul deed. Yeah, it was a very dark, disturbing period for me doing that show, but it was a blast. The actors were amazing. It was fun to be a part of, but that character was kind of a downer, kind of a sad guy.
Well, especially the ending, because I believe you said DNA, and then it says that anywhere but you. I'll go anywhere but you. Yes, it definitely did. So the last thing is you have jumped yet again another franchise. You're Transformers.
Yes.
So what was that like? Yet again, like you said, you're in a new franchise. There's a big fan base, and then you're thinking, "Don't blow this, Mitch. Don't blow this."
Well, this at least was a new character. Fix-It was not introduced to the universe before. So I was very excited, but I will tell you that when we had that first episode with Peter Cullen, of course, the amazing voice of Optimus, we're in the studio, all professionals doing our job, and when he said, "Autobots, roll out," I heard that voice, and I was like, I started giggling. I couldn't help it. It's because that Transformer fan in me was so excited to be there working with him, and we were all working actors in film and television on that show, and I had the best time, and I made friendships. Kari Payton, Will Friedle, Constance Zimmer, Darren, Chris, we're all still friends, and it was an amazing experience. It was really cool.
So I have one more for the obscure, because I could ask you about your role in the Green Lantern, but I have one for the books. Could you say any stories about your role as, I believe, is Mickey Zimmerman in Sergeant Bilko?
What can I say? You know, Jonathan Lynn directed Sergeant Bilko, and he also directed My Cousin Vinny. So he asked me to be a part of it, and I was super excited to do that because I love Jonathan, and it was great to be a part of the movie. I didn't have a lot to do in the movie, but I did make a friend in Phil Hartman, who I still miss to this day, and for that, I was very grateful for that alone. Of course, I made other friends during the movie, but meeting Phil and working with him and geeking out over flight simulators and video games made me very happy. What a great guy, and like I said, I still miss him. So that's when I think of that movie, I think of him and that experience. So that was kind of special.
Phil, we still miss you, and by God, we would have loved to have seen what you were like as Zap Brannigan in Futurama. Would have been hilarious. So, well, thank you so much, Mitch. Everybody, he's still doing the work. Keep supporting him, and keep laughing. And remember, his character, it's a Steen, not a Stein. Thank you.